Hello everyone, welcome back to the second podcast conducted by the EEE Association. I am Deepthi from EEE third year. For today's podcast, I am here with Sriman Narayana from EEE fourth year. He got placed in Broadridge with NLPA. So let us welcome Sriman Narayana.
Thank you, Deepthi. Thanks for having me over here.
We prepared some questions for you. Here is your first question. What is your current role in your company?
From Jan, I'm an intern, and the full-time role is not yet assigned, and the company will assign the role in near future.
When did you start your preparation for the interview, and when do you think one should start the preparation?
So I started from July for placements. I was actually interested in core sector before, but after my internship at Vizag Steel Plant, I changed my mind. So it will be better if you start preparation from May.
You said you were interested in the core sector before. So what kind of job have you dreamt of at the beginning of your BTech?
I dreamt of pursuing higher studies after my BTech in core sector, and I was more interested in research work at the beginning of my BTech life.
What made you motivated to get this job?
By the end of 3-2, I was in a burnt out phase, which made me to rethink about my higher studies plan. So it came to a point where I had to give it up on that, and then my journey towards IT job started.
Which skills have you secured for this job, and what courses have you done apart from academics?
So for majority of jobs in IT sector, they expect a fresher to have knowledge in DSA, networking, OOPS, SQL. So I have not done any courses in particular, but YouTube videos on MS Excel and SQL have helped me a lot.
What are the platforms that you use to code, and which platform do you think is best for coding?
There are many good platforms for coding. I relied on GFG and HackerEarth.
According to you, how is coding important, and how did you manage both core and coding?
Coding is very important even for those who are prepping for core. Many core companies expect you to have good coding skills, and EEE is an interdisciplinary branch, so coding knowledge is a must. Managing core is a bit easy as we go through the semester exams, but while you're free, practicing coding helps you a lot.
Practicing coding along with academics is a bit difficult, right? So, how would you suggest our listeners to manage preparation for placements, academics, and coding?
So that's the challenge we need to overcome. So the best way to manage is not to procrastinate and do things on time. Solving more number of problems gives you the confidence to excel.
Will backlog affect our placements?
Of course, a few companies set the criteria of no backlog history, and a minimum level of CGPA should be maintained. But more important should be laid on developing our skills.
Who guided you throughout your preparation?
So my brother is a mentor to me. He guided throughout my preparation, and at present he is working as a data analyst in a company.
How connections with people helped you?
I mean, you can watch hours of lectures on YouTube and do many courses, but this all can be replaced by a knowledgeable friend who explains you in layman terms. Honestly, nothing can beat that.
What's the importance of projects in placements?
Project will always be noticed by the interviewers. So I did a mini epics project on an intruder alarm in my third year. I was so casual about that, but my suggestion is to show interest, as these are the X factors for any interview.
Now I would like to ask the questions related to the placement interview. So the first question is, how did you introduce yourself in the interview?
I started like this, myself Sriman Narayana, studying 4th BTech EEE department at NIT Andhra Pradesh. So we can elaborate by saying our interests, hobbies along with the basic introduction.
How would you like to answer this question? What will you do if another company gives a double package of hours?
So I was actually asked a similar question in my HR round. A better answer would be, it's not about the package, but it's also about the job role, location, work culture, which I would take into consideration, and we can just elaborate on that.
What are the qualities that one should inhibit to gain a good campus placement?
Honesty about our strengths and weaknesses, and addressing the issue which we are lacking in, or some of the qualities one should inhibit.
What was your state of mind during the interview?
It was actually my first interview. I was a bit calm in my first technical round, but for the second technical round, I was a bit nervous and underconfident. But gradually, I maintained my calmness, and HR round was relatively less pressure round, as it's just a clearing round, not an elimination round.
How to answer if the interviewer asks the question, being a triple student, why are you choosing IT field?
I remember HOD sir once saying how a triple student can excel in both IT field and core field, and how triple branch is a highly interdisciplinary department. For example, a triple student who's well versed in microcontroller and assembly language programming can give a tough competition to CS or EC guy. So we can say that triple is a very inclusive branch, and most of the subjects require coding skills.
In your opinion, which one is better among on-campus and off-campus placement?
Based on job role, there's no difference. But regarding getting the job off campus, it's 10 times tougher as you're competing with a huge number. Whereas in on campus, that sample size is very less. So I can say that the off campus is relatively far tougher than getting an on campus.
How have you managed your emotional breakdowns and anxieties in BTech life?
I was emotionally broke down while I was managing both internship and preparing for GATE exam. And the best thing to do in such situation is to stay calm and take bold decisions like I took to switch to IT sector. And honestly, I was a bit anxious as coding was never my strength. But yeah, that's when your luck plays a role and your hard work reflects.
Okay, before winding up, please give your suggestions to your juniors.
So my suggestions would be, the first thing is don't crave for internships. Like many would just do internship for the sake of making a fancy CV. But internship should always be seen as a learning opportunity. My next suggestion would be focus mainly on communication skills. Like I can assure you all guys that I'm not at least an average guy in hands-on coding, but certainly my way of presenting and my communication skills helped me to get this success. And the last thing I would suggest is be confident in presenting your answers. Sometimes it's more important than knowing the right answers.
Thank you, Sriman Narayana, for giving your valuable suggestions to us and spending your time with us. I'm happy to interview you.
Yeah, thanks Deepthi for taking the interview. I'm also happy to share my experiences with you, and thanks for AAA Association for inviting me to this podcast, and I appreciate this idea which helps the listeners.
Yes guys, I hope this podcast session is informative. For more information, please do like, share and subscribe. And if you guys have any doubts, please post in the comment section. Feel free to leave your suggestions for the upcoming sessions. Thank you.